Dave Palumbo with an RxMuscle rant. Today's topic, Phil Heath announcing that he will not be doing the 2019 Mr. Olympia competition. For some people, it was a shock. For some people, they kind of expected it. I think at this point and at this late game, I think we mostly thought that Phil would not be in the show. I mean, Phil's the kind of guy that plans things well in advance. So if he knew this, he was going to spring it on us at the last minute. It didn't seem almost like Phil-ish. Phil would have let everyone know well ahead of time, hey, I'm going to be in that show, I'm winning my title back, and that's it. The fact that he was traveling overseas, that showed me that he was really involved in the business of his new companies that he's launching and trying to make a life, I guess, after bodybuilding at this point. Because let's face it, you can make a lot of money while you're competing. I mean, Phil probably made more money than anyone in maybe the history of the sport because the prize packages he was winning toward the end of his Olympia reign were $400,000 a year. So that's a lot of money. So he might have made the most prize money of anyone out there, even more than Dexter, because Phil has won so many Olympias. But the bottom line is that money goes fast, you know. So once you're done, what are you going to do to continue making money if you're not earning prize money? Phil didn't have a supplement deal, you know, toward the end of his career. So he was basically, you know, surviving on whatever little business, you know, things he had going on the side, guest postings, and of course his Olympia prize money, which, you know, is a lot, you know, compared to what most people make a year. But you know, for a guy like Phil, that's not a lot because he wants to do way more than that. So the question is, why didn't he do the Olympia? A lot of people feel, well, you know, this could have been an easy slam dunk for him. He really didn't lose last year. He beat himself. If he just came back a little better, Shawn's not there, he should be able to win. And I, you know what, I think for a lot of people who don't compete at that elite level, it's hard for them to understand what's going on now in Phil's mind. Because once you step away from the sport, it's hard to come back. You know, Milo Sarcev told me this once in an interview. He said, Dave, remember when I did that run? He was competing in like 25 shows a year. I mean, he just didn't stop. And even though the season would be over, he'd get like 2 months off and then he'd be back into the next, you know, set of shows for the following year. And he said, once I stopped and took a break and said, you know, I'm going to take 6 months or I'm going to take 8 months off and I'm only going to compete in a couple shows at the end of the year. He said, I couldn't go back. He goes, I couldn't get that motivation to go back again. He's like, it was like almost like once I removed myself from that whole, you know, momentum of, you know, contest I was doing, I couldn't get the momentum back. And that was toward the end of his career as well. But I think what's happening with Phil is that he's like, you know what? I got more time on my hands. I can concentrate on business. You know what? I'm a smart guy. I got millions of followers on social media. I can make a lot of money. And you know, I don't have to break my ass in the gym, and I don't have to diet, and I don't have to sacrifice. I don't have to, you know, screw up my relationships with people because I'm cranky and I don't have time, and all I'm thinking about is training. I could train and be big like Kai Green and make appearances and promote whatever products and companies I want to do. And guess what? If I want to go have a beer at the bar, or if I want to go have McDonald's, I don't have to worry about it because I'm not getting ready for anything. And I think it was really a breath of fresh air for this whole season for him to have to not worry about the Olympia. Now the question is, once you get into that state of removal from the bodybuilding, I guess you could say, you know, cycles, as we call it, you know, because you kind of go off-season pre-contest, off-season pre-contest, all year round. You almost don't want to go back. I mean, Phil's 40 years old. He's won 7 Olympias. What the hell does he got to prove now? Nothing. He'll make more money not competing, probably. Now, the only reason he would go back is because maybe he wants to try to break the record, or at least tie it with 8 wins. I don't know if that even matters anymore to him. He's already established himself as a future Hall of Famer. He's already going to be considered one of the greatest bodybuilders, you know, to ever compete because he won 7 Olympias and he was so dominant. So, I mean, what has he got to prove? I mean, who cares about, you know, 9 Olympias, you know? He might not be able to do it, you know? So, at this point, I think he made a very smart decision. He said, you know what? I'm doing well in business. I'm traveling overseas. I'm making a lot of money on appearances, and I'm making connections, and I'm starting to sell my products, and I'm actually enjoying myself probably because this is fun. Because I got people who want Well, I'm in demand. I want people who want me. They want me to make appearances. They want me to talk to people, do seminars. They'll buy my products, so I come out with them because I'm Mr. Olympia, right? So I think we're going to see Phil concentrate more on the business of making a future for himself as a bodybuilder, as opposed to maybe focusing on competing. Will we ever see him back on a stage again? It's possible. Kai Green came back that one year. I think that was his farewell year that he had competed in when he beat Cedric, or barely beat Cedric at the Arnold Classic. I think that was his last time. I think he wanted to give it one more shot to show everyone he could still win, and he did. But now I think that Kai is also in a very comfortable place where he doesn't have to worry. Yeah, he trains because he loves it. He eats a lot of food because he likes to, but he doesn't have to worry about every micronutrient he's consuming, every macro that is in his daily meal plan. He can eat what he wants. He can train when he wants. And he can still have fun and make a lot of money and meet a lot of people and travel the world. And that's what Kai wants to do. And I think we'll see Phil do a lot of that as well. Build his business, build his brand, and then maybe we'll see him do one farewell swan song, a year or two from now. You never know. But you might not see him because like I said, he doesn't have anything to prove anymore. He'll walk around big because that's how he's going to make money for the next couple of years. And then he won't be big anymore, just like Jay. Jay walked around big for the first couple of years after he stopped competing. And now he's downsized because he realizes he can make money at 100 pounds. It doesn't matter what he looks like. He's already established his legacy. I realized this a long time ago. There are always people who want to see me big again, or will say, "Oh, I don't care. I want to live a long time. I got a lot of plans." Look, the bottom line is, if you look at the animal kingdom, okay, the big animals don't last as long as the little animals do. If any of you guys are into dogs, the big dogs die way faster than the little dogs die. The big dogs may last 8 years. The little dogs go 15 years. There's a reason to that, okay? Smaller lives longer. So it doesn't, serve a bodybuilder into their 50s and 60s to be, 280 pounds. That's probably not going to be something that's going to help their survival rate long term. So I think that, the guys that are on top are doing it right. They're downsizing slowly. I did the same thing. It took me 10 years to downsize, but I think we're going to see Phil do the same thing. I think that he'll stay big for a couple of years, cash in on that, do a lot of appearances, launch his product lines or whatever he's going to sell. And then we'll probably see him start to downsize, unless he decides, like I said, to do one more farewell song. But I think at this point, it was the right decision to make. I know a lot of people and I was thinking about, why doesn't he just jump in? You know what? What if he loses? What if he jumps in and loses? Because for whatever reason, he's just not the physique that they want on stage anymore. And maybe some of these other guys have gotten a little better. That kind of will put a damper on his whole, marketing of himself. It'll also reduce his stock a little bit. And there's no reason to do that because he lost the Olympia last year, but who cares? A lot of people felt he won the Olympia, and then he just beat himself because he had some issues with his stomach. So you're better off going out on top than, when I look at what Ronnie Coleman did that one year when he came back again to try to win it, he wasn't at his best. He knew it. He had the lat issue was really flaring. His one side was smaller. He probably should have not done that show. There was no reason to. It's like a boxer who boxes that one last fight. And you're like, oh, don't do that fight, man. Why did you just quit while you're on top? It's hard because when you're the champion, you feel you can't be beat, and that and obviously, Ronnie had a track record. Phil has a track record, but I think it's a good decision. After I thought about it for a while, not that it matters what I think, but I think Phil's making the right decision. He'll be at the Olympia, I'm sure, marketing himself and giving support to whoever the next champion is going to be. And who knows? Will we see him next year? We'll love to speculate about it, right? We've been speculating if Kai's making a comeback for the last 5 years, right? Or 4 years, whatever it's been. And it's just fun to speculate. Will it happen? Maybe. Maybe not. I think if Phil is successful in what he's doing business-wise, we won't see him on stage again. If maybe things are not going as well as he needs to, and he wants to give himself a little boost in the ratings, so to speak, you might see him jump on stage and do the Olympia just to get the excitement back because that'll help his business. I'm sure Livroni will tell you his business really improved a lot from almost nothing to what it is now. And I know he's making very good money out in Europe over there. because of that comeback that he made. And so it was he wanted to get back on stage. He wanted to give the fans one last look, but he also knew it was going to be good for business, and it was. His social media was outrageous while he was competing and getting ready for that show. So it is what it is. We won't see Phil on that stage, but his spirit will be there, and I think it's, once again, it's not going to detract from the Olympia. I think we have a very exciting lineup, especially now with Hadi Choopan jumping into the Open. I'm Dave Palumbo with an RxMuscle rant.